On the 5th of August, 2025, the small village of Darali, in Uttarkashi district, Uttarakhand, northern India, lived through a nightmare that the survivors will remember for the rest of their lives. This peaceful hamlet, nestled along the scenic Kedar-Ganga Valley, long known as a tranquil stop for pilgrims and travelers, was suddenly turned into a watery hell. The sky split open without warning, unleashing a catastrophic cloudburst. Within minutes, a torrent of muddy water carrying boulders, uprooted trees, and thick sludge roared down the mountainside and slammed into the village. Streets vanished beneath the raging flood as the current swallowed homes, hotels, shops, and every structure in its path. Vast sections of Darali disappeared under the water, with entire blocks ripped away in seconds. Panic and chaos erupted. Residents screamed in terror as the water rose. Some were trapped inside their homes, unable to escape the deadly torrent. Witnesses recall the horrifying scene. The flood charged through with terrifying speed, sweeping away everything in sight. Vehicles were tossed like toys, walls crumbled, and the village's modest infrastructure suffered catastrophic damage. Hotels and guest houses that once welcomed pilgrims were either flattened or carried off downstream. A few villagers who saw the wave coming began to shout desperately, "Run! Get to the hills!" Men and women stumbled out into the rain, clutching children, and scrambled up stone steps toward higher ground. Neighbors banged on doors, shouting to wake those still asleep, but the flood was merciless. In barely 60 seconds, the center of Darali was gone. Half the village was obliterated, and what remained were twisted metal frames, scattered bricks, and a ghostly silence, broken only by the roar of the water. Roads were washed away, bridges snapped, and downed power lines left the area in a cold, terrifying darkness. Local authorities, rescue teams, and volunteers rushed to the scene, fighting desperately to save anyone still trapped. Treacherous terrain and relentless rain turned the mission into a life with race against time. The churning floodwaters, littered with debris, posed constant danger to rescuers. Early reports confirmed at least 4 deaths, with dozens more missing, and officials feared the toll would rise. Survivors stood on the mountainside, drenched and shaking, watching what was once their home vanish beneath mud and rubble. Tears mingled with rain as the reality sank in. Nature had unleashed its full fury, and human life was painfully fragile in its path. Local authorities, rescue teams, and volunteers quickly rushed to the scene in a desperate effort to save those trapped in the raging floodwaters. The situation became even more complicated due to the treacherous terrain and continuous rain, making rescue operations both difficult and dangerous. The floodwaters, carrying heavy debris, continued to pose a serious threat to those attempting to reach survivors. Initial reports confirmed at least 4 deaths, while many others were reported missing. The central part of the village had been washed away, and the roads were blocked. Villagers on both sides were evacuated by ground troops. Communication with Darali was nearly impossible. Surrounding areas were also heavily affected, cutting off supply routes and making aid delivery agonizingly slow. The region's already fragile infrastructure collapsed under the disaster, leaving the village completely isolated. Experts say the destruction of Darali was the result of a deadly combination. Extreme natural forces, including the sudden cloudburst, steep, unstable mountain terrain, which funneled the water into a deadly wall of flood and debris. Human vulnerability, with buildings perched near riverbanks and on unstable slopes. Climate scientists warn that global warming is fueling more frequent and intense extreme rainfall, leaving mountain villages like Darali increasingly exposed to sudden, deadly disasters. For the people of Darali, that night will leave a scar that never heals. In less than a minute, a peaceful village was erased from the map, a stark reminder that in the face of nature's wrath, humanity is never truly safe. Thank you for watching. Natural disasters like this remind us of how quickly life can change and the true power of nature. If you want to see more true stories of natural disasters and human endurance, be sure to subscribe to the Wrath of Weather channel. Share this video to spread awareness and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Stay safe, stay informed, and never forget the power of nature.
Manji Maria.